Alright, welcome everyone. This is the third video here. I've gone through the mission prep and ramp start procedures. So in this one, I'm going to show you the setting up the systems for a mission and the taxiway takeoff and basically everything up to the fence in. Okay, I'll cover the fence in the next video, try to keep these short. So here I'm on the 2D. I'll just go takeoff and taxiway. This is something you'd normally do on online. Most people don't ramp start, even in the campaign, honestly. So this will take down to 4 minutes on the taxiway. For ramp, it'll be 20 minutes, and runway will take down to 0. And this is not a standard or anything. This is the way I set up the aircraft. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of what you need to do so you can set up the aircraft how you like.
Falcon 1-1, ready for departure.
Okay, so
Falcon,
first thing I'm going to do is turn down the tower
right.
so that
Cowboy 1-1,
not screaming
ready
at
for
me here. So UHF 15 is our tower frequency. That's COM 1. So I'll turn that off. Okay, so I am flight lead. Okay, so keep that in mind. First thing I'm going to do is turn on my HMCS. Okay, so you have it on there. I can turn that on and off using DMS down long. Okay, so DMS is usually going to be on your joystick. Over here, I'm going to go to radar altimeter to standby, so that's one click away. DED, or sorry, this, I'm going to turn the pilot fault list on the HUD here, so all my faults show up on the bottom of my HUD. I like flying with the console lights on. Okay, and so that's all the switches I need. Now, so to share data, to have my wingman actually pop up here on my HSD, I'm going to, and this is only the flight lead. Okay, so if you're number 2 multiplayer, don't do this, but so flight lead will click here, go to continuous, and then press and hold delete. Okay, so now I am hosting data. Okay, that means all the data goes into my aircraft and gets spread around. Okay, so if I go down, people lose their data. But, just so you know, that's what you do. So if lead goes down in your multiplayer game, hit that. Should be able to host the data. Okay, so on this HSD, so you have here DCPL, this means decouple. Okay, so I'm actually going to couple this, and what that means is it couples it to my FCR range here. Okay, so as I use my range increase and decrease on my FCR, which I have on my joystick, it'll also increase and decrease the range on my HSD. Now you can see it shows mostly what's ahead of me, but if I wanted to center the aircraft on my HSD, I can do that. I can still zoom in and out. Okay, so that's my setup. You can see here I have my nose wheel steering on. Okay, so I'll go ahead and continue taxi. Okay. And let's just see if we're cleared for takeoff here. I'm sure he's already yelling at us. And I do set the UHF down a little bit, so it's a multiplayer habit. VHF is what you communicate with your flight on. So I'll go to T for tower, and then 5 request taxi.
Falcon 1-1, ready for departure.
Falcon 1-1, Kim Poe Tower. You are cleared for takeoff. Runway 14
Okay.
right.
Go ahead and taxi to 14 right. So this is 14 left. You can see it on the runway there. So this is pointing in direction 140. It's on the left side of the airport. Okay, just slow down here. And I'll go ahead and take the left side of the runway. So my wingman, if he's able to, you never know with the AI, but he can take the right. Yep, looks like he's going to taxi on the right side of me. Okay, and then one thing we can do here is go ahead and check our QNH.
Falcon 1, Kimpo approach 3059.
Okay, so 3059 is our altimeter setting. You can move that up and down with this knob here. So 3059. Okay, if you wanted to zero it at the field elevation, okay, that's the QFE. That's what you'll call and request on landing. So you can see 305 or 49. We'll set this to 0 feet. Okay, so this is 3059 is above sea level. Okay.
Falcon 1-1.
Okay, so for takeoff here, what I'm going to do is set the brakes. Okay. So set the brakes. Increase my throttle to 80%. Some people do 90. About 80%. You're looking for stability in your gauges. Okay. So all these gauges are stable. So what I'm going to do now is release the brakes and go burner on. So full power. Okay. Up here on the HUD, once my speed comes alive, I'll turn off my nose wheel steering. And I'm going to rotate at 150 knots. So 150. Start pulling the nose up gently. Now once I'm off the ground, go ahead and my gear up. Then I'll climb at 10 degrees nose up, burner on to 350. Okay, there's 350 up in the air. Go ahead and I have my lights on here, so go ahead and turn those off just right there.
2, airborne.
Generally you want to climb to 10,000 and climb at 10 degrees nose up. Once you hit 10,000, you're going to have to drop your nose if you're carrying a loadout. Okay. Okay, so just a note here. So I'm on steer point 2. The way you can get to the steer points is by on your DED here. By the way, if you're not on this page, all that you have to do, all that you have to do is press this RTN. Okay, so here's your 4-way switch. Say I'm on something, I'll show you this later, but say I'm on the cruise page, I can just hit RTN to come back. Okay, and then this up and down, you can see moves this cursor around. Okay, so anything you're on there is what you'll manipulate. Okay, so here I'm on the steer point number, so I can change steer points now. 1, 2, 3, all the way up. It'll go through every steer point, just so you know. Okay, so let's say we're on steer point 2, and I just want to get to steer point, say 15, my target steer point. What I'm going to do is press 4 for steer point here. You can see this TILS, ALO, steer point cruise time, mark fix, ACAL, M select. So I'll go to steer point. You can see that I have the steer point selected. And I can just hit 1, 5, enter. Okay, so this has changed it to steer point 15. I can hit return to come back to the main page. And by the way, this freeze mode is pretty handy for beginners. It's just Shift P. It allows you to interact with the cockpit while the game's paused. Okay, so right now go in to a bit of depth into this the DED. Okay, so first of all, if you remember from the other videos, I can put the DED data up on my HUD, which is kind of difficult to see, but comes in handy in some situations. Okay, but for now I'll be focusing over here. So let me turn my tower comms back on so you can see this. Okay, so let's go over probably the most important thing you're going to use on this DED, which is your cruise information. Okay, so let me change this back to a waypoint or a steer point in our flight plan. Say steer point 5, enter. Okay, then I have to go to return, and then I can go to my cruise data. Okay, so this is telling me the system time. So the current time is 9:26 in the morning. Okay, this DESTOS is the designated time on station. Okay, so I need to be at steer point 5 at 9:28. Okay, and then my estimated time of arrival ETA right now is 9:32, so I need to speed it up a bit. And you can see here, since time is ticking in the game, you can see the required ground speed is increasing. So we have to be going pretty fast. Okay. Now if I click this cruise one more time, it goes to the range. Okay, so this is telling me, and this is extremely important page, especially if you're over the target area and wondering if you have enough fuel to get back. Okay, so this is telling you your steer point 5, I'm going to have this much fuel left based on my altitude and fuel consumption. Okay, so 10,408 pounds. Generally, and so what you can do here as well is go down to the steer point and go down to 1. Okay, so 1 is your home plate. All right, it's the airbase that you came from. So if I turn around here and head towards steer point 1, I'll have 11,000 pounds of fuel left. Okay, so when you're on the range page, or the range sub page for cruise, steer point 1, that fuel needs to be above, I think, 1,000 pounds in the higher block F-16s. Okay, so make sure that you're always above 1,000 pounds on this page. Okay. And if not, then you need to bug out immediately, or if you're getting close to 1,000 pounds, then you need to start turning to home. Okay, so we can press this again. Oh, sorry. Need to go up again, select. Okay. Sorry. Trouble here. Okay, just return, cruise, range. And, okay, so home. This is telling you home plate. It gives you an optimum altitude to fly at. Okay. And gives you the wind information here. So then we can go to the next. This is endurance. This is telling you how long you have to bingo fuel. Okay, I'll show you that in a second. Gives you an optimal Mach, also wind direction and speed. Okay, and then one more time returns us to the main page. So you can keep hitting this and it just will roll through that. Okay, so I can hit return, go back to this page. So you can see like you have ALO, also looks like allow, which is pretty clear. So you have CARA allow. CARA is your radar altimeter. Okay, so this is where you'll get the warning if your gear's up. So I'll get it at 300 feet. If I want to, say, do 500 feet, I can just go to 500 and hit enter. Okay, and I can go down MSL floor. So this will give you a warning whenever you pass 10,000 feet here. Okay, so say you're flying over some man pads or I don't know, some SAMs with a maximum height of or altitude of say 15,000. You can set this to 15,000 and it'll warn you. The bitch and Betty will come up and warn you that you're below that. Okay. Um, yep, and that's just a single page. Okay. So the next one we have is, of course, the steer point. We already went through that. Another one, mark point. You can actually mark points here. You can see it's set to HUD right now. So you can move that around. Say you have a visual on a SAM, you can move it over something. I'll just unfreeze it here and show you this. Okay. So let's say I see something right here. I'm on my HUD, and I can switch that, by the way, through this sequence. Okay, so this is overfly FCR. Okay, so would be a ground FCR. My HUD and target pod is the next one. So I have multiple ways to select a new mark point. Okay, so we can go to HUD. You can see here I'm using my slew to slew this down. And then I hit up once and twice to mark that point. Okay, and you can see here it says mark point 26. Okay, so if I want to fly towards that, I'll select steer point 26. Enter. And you can see my steer point moves to here. Okay, you can do that with, again, anything. Your target pod, if you overfly a point, you can mark it. And that's a pretty helpful thing, especially with like pop-up SAMs or something like that, or targets of opportunity. Okay, so again, return to get out of that page. And then I'm not going to go over the rest of these because they're rarely used, for me at least. So another big part of this is you go to your list page, and this actually has most of the information that your DED can contain. So under list page, you get your destination, bingo, you get a lot of stuff here. I'll just go through the important ones here. So bingo is number 2. Okay. So number 2, I can set the bingo here. Now there's ways to calculate bingo. I'll put this in the comments. But so you can change it here. Say I want to be at 2,500 pounds. You can change that there. Now there are 2 field states. So there's Jester. It's 1,000 pounds over bingo, and then bingo fuel is the fuel you need to get back to home plate. So again, if you're over the target area, you can just go to your cruise and the range sub page and see how much fuel you're going to have. So again, you always want 1,000 pounds when you touch the ground at the airport. Okay. Go back to list, bingo. So say I calculated my bingo at 2,500 pounds. I'm going to set my first bingo at 3,500. Okay. 3,500. Okay, there we go. So then when I hear the first bingo, I'm at Jester fuel, and then I reset this to 1,000 pounds less, which is 2,500, and now I can hear the bingo call out when I'm at actual bingo. Okay. And again, over here, it always tells you your steer point, so steer point 26. Okay, so we'll go back, return, list. Okay. Next thing here, INS, if you're on the ground and messing with the DED, you can just press 6, it'll go to your INS. Okay, return, list. Okay, there's a second page here. You can go to miscellaneous, 0. Okay, and then on this page, the most important one here is going to be your laser. So number 5. Okay, this will give you your laser codes. But the big thing here is air to ground laser is set to training by default. Okay, and you have to set this to get your laser to work. So you can drop LGBs. You have to go down to air to ground, which is on training, and press 1, and it'll go to combat, and then you hit enter just to make sure. You can manipulate the auto laze time, okay, from like 16 seconds to say 20 if you're at a higher altitude. Okay, so that's generally the DED. One more very important thing is so on this list page, you press enter, okay, and this goes to your data page. Okay, so this is how the planes are talking to each other essentially. You can see here I have number 2 on my HSD. If I just zoom in here, and I can also zoom in, by the way, by using these. If you don't like my way. So you can see number 2 here. It's telling me number 2 at the top, and then at 11,000 feet. Okay, and then yeah, there he is. I can see that he's almost at my 7 or 8 o'clock. So there we go. There he is. Okay, and so the way that he shows up there is by getting on this page, which is again list, enter, then sequence. Okay, now I'm transmitting on 10, so I am 1-1 and he's 1-2. Okay, if you're part of a package and there's more than one flight, the first flight's going to be 1-1. Okay, his wingman's 1-2, element is 1-3, and element wingman is 1-4. The second flight in that would be 2-1. Then just press enter. And then the third element is 3-1, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's how you get your friendlies to appear on your HSD. Okay, and it's only the friendlies in your package. Okay, so that's about it for the DED in this video. So next video I'll go into the FCR and general air-to-air on that one. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.